Hi everyone, we're back, and as you can see, sorry in the last video the end of the planting cut off really, but we left a tiny strip because we weren't going to go back over it with the full width of the planter, but we got this now. I think this is about 60% full, still got 20 bushels of seed in there, so we overbought by about 100%. We bought double the stuff that we needed really, which is better than running out. So today, I already said we'll get the white out and we'll get weeding that field. I say today, it's just following immediately on from the last recording. And the other thing I was looking at is, if you see here, our precision farming data for all our grass fields, I think I mentioned it a few videos ago, is outdated. So we'll finally have an opportunity to use our newly purchased soil sampler. We'll put that probably on the case 970 and just run it over the grass fields. But first of all, let's get this white out and get it all hooked up. Yeah, I was right in thinking this is an 825. Off a little bit. So I presume the 8 in 825 means that it is an 8 row. I'm now thinking maybe we should have put jewels back on the white, but it's only one field, it shouldn't matter too much. And fuel's alright and everything, so we're good to go. So yeah, this being 8 row as well just does help with the maths of if we have a 4 row planter that we did. Oh, actually no, it doesn't, because we did. Maybe I'm losing it altogether. Anyway, we won't worry too much about following how we planted. We'll just get the GPS set up, I think, so we stay exactly on row and go from there. So if we line ourselves up with the end here, then we'll do like a lap or two around the edge as well. And with my adjustment of all the row spacing, it should be pretty much bang on. There you go, you see there we've got one of those little cultivating arms in between each row of corn. So actually our centre on the tractor lines up like that. So we'll go in here and I'll just see whether GPS will work, because sometimes it won't. 4.7, that's detecting. 4.7 meters, that is. And that's a bit off. Feel a bit off. Is that better? Maybe. We'll try that and see, but we can always freehand it because we've got the... Oh, actually, the bonnet emblem does point straight down the middle of the row, which is how I thought. And we'll need to drop a couple gears for our 7 mile an hour working speed. There we go. It's so much more satisfying having them all line up. Before, I think on Alma it was only sunflowers that you could actually weed properly, and the rest would all be out of line and crushing all the rows anyway. So let's see where the GPS will line us up to. That's sort of online, but it's taking us over a little bit. So I might carry on here. I set that to 4.6. Just tiny adjustments, and there you can see that that's pulled us in, I think. And there we go. And this is always quite a therapeutic job for me, but it does take quite a long time. And you see our slightly odd markings on the field where we use those row markers, and actually that kind of dark text, just the same thing we got with the row markers on the other one. So I wonder if my messing around with textures the past couple days has caused that to be an issue at all. It might be the case, so don't attribute too much blame to the 71 being planted too quickly, because it's probably all me. And I was just going to complain that we've come out of the line again, but we may be creeping slightly over. It's always going to be hard with GPS to line up how you would with just by eye. So this might be the best we get. See if we can do some in-cab. There we go. So just coming up to the end here, and what I've tended to be doing is turning the GPS on just to get us roughly lined up, but then actually undoing it, positioning ourselves fully between that row there to get the best spacing possible, which is working really well. So not much longer to go on this field. With these smaller fields, I never know whether it's worth, because it's often too short for a time lapse or anything. I never really know whether to just skip things or time lapse them without music, or do like tiny little bits of music or what. So we'll see. I've been playing around with all three options until I find something I'm happy with. Okay, so that's all done, so we will just run all the way around the field, I think. Get all the last weeds, and then we'll give the map a quick check. And then we'll be on to soil sampling. And there was also I mean, I don't think any new contracts have come in, so I do want to go head back down and do some forestry. So what we'll probably do is record a bit of that. Is that a weed there that we're just not getting because it's in the corner? Or not? I have no idea. Well, it wants to stay there, it can stay there. Where was I? Yeah, we'll head back down to the forestry anyway. Just see how that's progressed. And I'm not sure I'll film any more cutting trees. Maybe I should, but we've taken out a good maybe 2/3 of the forest, so we're getting round to the point where we're going to need to start hiring a stump grinder, or hiring a stump grinder and ploughing it up, or putting a placeable there or something. I'm really not sure. I've been thinking long term, because of the Own the Map challenge, we will need to do grapes at some point. So I wonder if that would be a good place for a vineyard, even though that's quite far in the future. The trouble is, the surrounding trees, which I plan to leave, I guess we could take them out as well. But I wonder if they'll block too much light. It'll be too dark and shady for the grapes. We'll have to see. And then, yeah, I've been thinking as well. I'm not sure how many pigs of this next bunch we'll keep. So we got 60 something, is it? Yeah, 58 pigs there. So we probably only keep 2 or 3 sows for the future, and I know that's really cutting the numbers, but we do need to do it if we're gonna get anywhere with our profit making. So sad as that is, I think that's the way we're gonna have to do it. Anyway, we'll head back up to the yard, get the case hooked up to that soil sampler, and then we'll get trying that. Okay, let's get this all hooked up. I think this will work fine on the case. It only has 2 oil connections, so it should be fine. And the question is, can we bring it back in here? We should also maybe look to put something else in for maintenance, just so we keep a good flow through. I think, there we go. I think the next thing to go in is that red truck, or maybe the skid steer. But we'll do that after we've done all our sampling. So we'll pop the map open, get all of these ready, and now we can just drive out and start trying it, I guess. So unfold with X. That's always a good animation. And now we see that green ring pop up, so this is perfect. Good width for the field, so we'll do that. B to take a sample. Actually, this case itself has got 2 damages now, so maybe we'll get this in, get it repaired. Anyway, should be all fine now. It's always fun making sure you cover just every little bit. So that should do for our next sample. And you see here we've got the soil in little cups. Now I'm not sure whether you'd properly lift it to do all this driving in between or not, but it seems high enough it's not going to hit the ground unless we get a huge bump. There we are. Now we'll probably need 2 to finish this off here. Yeah, just that little corner there. Annoyingly, but that's always the way. And I hope everything else is covered. Okay, there we go. So you can see we've sampled a little bit of the radius into this field over here. But that's not to worry. Now I probably should hold this up. I think that... Oh no, I was going to say maybe it gets rid of those plastic little cups there, so we won't spill them by accident, but apparently not, so... Oh well. You can see our freshly weeded field here. And now field wise I was looking at the prices and there's sort of 19, 13 and 21 maybe, or these lot here are the ones I quite like. Okay, here we are. So we'll unfold again. Yes, I was saying price-wise, 13 is 112,000, that's pretty cheap per acre. 19 is 162, and then there's 66 and 86,000 here, so these are the more expensive patches. So ideally we're really looking for one of these two for next year, especially as we can either then put bales here or up in these grass areas. And that will be really handy to have. Can we get this little sliver in 2? I think so. It'll be close, but we should, if we're careful. There we go. And this one here, I can't remember how many it took before. Although I think with the soil sampler it's always more efficient than if you're just doing it automatically. Should really have checked on that first bit, but it might be hard because it samples all the fields in that land. I think that covers everything. We're going to risk it. And now this top piece might be a bit too much of a stretch. With that covering, oh yeah, we're just gonna miss a tiny bit, but that shouldn't really affect us at all. We're gonna save on the cost and just do it that way. There we go, now we can... Well, I say now we can fold it away, we've still got the top field to do. I'm doing them in the reverse order to usual, so I always forget. Yeah, we've taken 9 samples so far. The top I can't imagine being more than 2, really. Maybe 3. A bit of a triangular shape. But we'll find out soon enough. Okay, just coming up here. Thinking, and yeah, I think field 13 over there is probably our most realistic option. So we should probably aim for that. Now, let's get this sampler unfolded. Oh, and yeah, we should be able to do this in 2 samples easily. Okay. And 2, yeah, perfectly. Okay, so now we can finally fold this away for real this time. And we'll get back down to the farm, and then what I think I'll do is we'll load up all those pallets to sell, and then I'll take the gooseneck round to the store with them, sell them, and then we'll go back via the forest, and we can probably sell another load of logs off camera later today. But it'll also be a bit of an update, because I realised that the 4020's been down there for the last couple of weeks really, so we'll just check on that. We haven't been around, make sure nobody's nicked it or anything, even though it is quite out of the way, and I trust all the landowners really. So if we bought this field, we'd own really big amount of land, but also I think technically the game says you own the cemetery, but we'd own the area behind that as well. And I've got a few ideas further down the line for building a little yard up the top on the grass that's just there anyway. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Yeah, so up here we could expand the field a little bit, but I'd like to maybe put some sheds over here and here. The cemetery fence comes to about there, but we'll have to see whether we can get the funds. It's a good goal to aim for though. We're about halfway there, but got loan payments coming out every day, so it'll maybe be a bit close. Okay, I'll see you once we've hooked up to the trailer and we're all loaded up. Okay. Bit wonky, but you can imagine we've pinged the straps, said that's not going anywhere, so therefore it will be fine. Let's hop in and we'll head down to the sell points in town. And then over to the forest to show you what we've been doing, because it's a bit of a change from back in the winter. We've cut down a lot of the trees. Okay, we've checked the prices, and rather than everything being sold in the diner like before, we've actually got the highest price for the tomatoes is the ketchup factory, and the highest price for strawberries is the bakery. So it'll be a little more varied than usual. The most difficult tends to be when one is being sold for the highest price at the diner and the other one is at one of these smaller plants, because then you have to go to the smaller one first, otherwise it'll sell both at the diner. But the sell point at the ketchup factory is just in here. So that should be good, and this is slightly tight to turn around in. One day, of course, we will own this ketchup factory and the bakery and everything else on the map. Although that's going to be quite a ways off in the future, so we'll really start having to scaling up over the coming years. We did just bump the curb then, but not too bad. And the sell point for the bakery I find a little hard to find, but it is round the back here. And I think it's just sort of on the road here. We'll be able to tell if our money goes up. Maybe further in a little bit. There we go. So a little profit, that's like $500 between all of that. Not a huge amount, but we'll get over to the forestry now, and then hopefully we'll have enough sunlight, now it's May, to cut and sell a load of wood. And I'll show you what a mess we've made of the forest, basically. Because my aim was always to leave sort of a minefield of tree stumps. And all I can say is it's worked. So we'll definitely have to be buying a stump grinder at some stage. And then in the coming months, I guess, we'll be asking around, asking farms and maybe putting some adverts up for some hired work. We could do with some helpers, combining certainly, but also just for planning to scale up the farm, it would be really handy. So we'll have to see about that. Okay, so down this track, which is looking a lot nicer in spring than it did in winter with snow everywhere. The snow looks really cool for the first day or two, and then, much like in real life, the novelty then wears off and it's just painful, so it gives you that sense of realism, I guess. It was quite helpful doing forestry this year to get us through it, rather than just ploughing snow all day every day like we have before. And we also had all the feeding to keep us busy with. Okay, so here's the forest. We're actually going to skirt around the edge of this field, and I've been coming in a bit further down here just because of the sheer amount of stumps. And let's try not to get hung up on one which is nearly impossible. Come up to there and stop, see how that looks. Well, that was about as close as we could have stopped without hitting it. So we'll switch off here. That's the 4020 where we left it, so that's all good. And you can just see the sheer amount of trees we've taken out. In fact, if we look on the game stats, cut down 157 trees so far. And we're at probably 2/3 of the way through the field, if not more. Not an awful lot of trees left. It kind of tapers to the point here. So we're doing really well. But we'll have to think of something else to do with this land, and I don't know whether to keep these other trees or not. Anyway, catch you once we're all loaded and basically I'm probably up at the sawmill ready to sell. Now, one big benefit to the 4020 over the skid steer down here is that the low stumps we can actually drive straight over the top of, so that's really, really handy. And yeah, even though it's far less manoeuvrable, we can also, with the forks set wide, should be able to go over a stump like that. Not that that's very helpful in this scenario. So in that regard, it's a lot less limiting than the skid steer. It is still really annoying to, if you have to turn on the stumps like that. Okay, so we're all loaded up, and this is 8 trees, so it should be around 4 grand we get in, which would be a nice end to the day, and it'll actually tick us over 50 grand, which is really nice to see. And other than pig food, I'm not sure we've got much expenses for the rest of the year, so buying that field, or maybe even a couple fields, is looking like a good option now. Let's just see how much we get. Wow, okay. $5,000, that's huge. Stop all those straps clicking. Okay, we'll head back to the farm now. Yeah, I wonder if we can get that forest cleared in time to plant a crop. That could be an interesting idea. So what do we have in the calendar that can actually so sunflowers, oh, beans we've got a whole extra month for. We could do sorghum as well, or alfalfa. I'm really not sure. It's probably not worth. We'd probably plant beans, but yeah, the fact that we've got basically 2 whole months to do that is really good. So yeah, I'm still debating whether or not to do some grass contracts for the neighbours, because I mean, field 40, that's huge. Big money here. we'll have to see, but we'll do either of those off camera and update you when we're doing something noteworthy, I guess, which will either be if we do get any combining contracts come in, but other than that, it will be when our own fields are ready. So we'll be jumping through a lot of time, but I guess if we can update when we're figured something out feeding the pigs. Now we want to put this trailer far enough out of the way that we can get that hay rake out. Also, we don't want to destroy our nice fence. Look at that. That's perfect, and also really annoying to get out probably. But we'll leave it here for today, and as I said, I don't really know when we'll next update you, but the videos will keep rolling out scheduled. They should do at least. We're able to produce a few at a time, so we can schedule them over the next week or two. So don't worry about that, but I'll catch you all in the next one. Cheers.